I've been so excited to make this video that I actually forgot to take notes for it. Today I wanted to talk about one of my all-time favorite games, Yakuza 0, or Ryuga Gototo 0, Jikai no Basho, or Like a Dragon 0, The Place of Oath. This is going to probably be my 7th playthrough, and I hope I can do this game justice. But you may be asking how I came across this once niche series. Well, if I recall correctly, it was through Angry Joe that I was first exposed to Zero, and it interested me enough to buy it and try it. This wasn't my first encounter with the series as a whole. Enter Yakuza 3 through 5, which I saw a lot at various GameStops over the years for a very long while. Also, Yakuza Dead Souls. Honestly, how could I forget the strangest and most meh entry? So, grab yourself a goon that pops money like bubbles, and let's party like it's 1988, and try to answer the question, just how good is Yakuza 0? Earlier I stated that 0 wasn't my first exposure to the series. To understand why it took till 0, let's go back a little bit. The series initially started with a debut on the PS2 with Yakuza's 1 and 2. These ones I never saw growing up. Then sometime in around, I want to say high school, I would start to spot Yakuza's 3 through 5, including Dead Souls, which I didn't buy because of one thing, or a particular game. Probably already guessed it, GTA 4. At the time, I thought the Yakuza series was a knockoff of GTA.
Oh, you stink!
Yeah, I know, but that's the first impressions I had. This impression would resound among many of my classmates at the time, and the Yakuza series would fade from memory. This apparently extended to a lot of 3 through 5's life cycle on the PS3, and also resulted in the devs' big attempt to break into the West with Yakuza Dead Souls. I may be incorrect with that, but it's kind of how it came off to me. Until this video in particular, I thought Dead Souls actually released after Yakuza 5. It turns out it released about a year prior. And to me, at the time, in 2011, when Dead Souls came to the West, it came off as profiting on the zombie craze.
You wanna play a zombie game?
No, I don't want to fucking play another goddamn zombie game!
You wanna play a motherfucking zombie game?
And so, made it fairly uninteresting to me. It's also not one of the better of the game entries, yes, but it did give one of the catchiest songs I've actually heard. So there's that, at least. Then in 2017, Zero would get a Western release, and it finally brought the series to the forefront of not only my mind, but a shit ton of people. And after Angry Joe did his review, I picked up a copy. Following its massive success, I became a massive fan of the series. This is yet another example of young me being a bit dumb and closed-minded. But enough of that, let's get into the gameplay of Yakuza 0. Okay, Yakuza 0 has a lot for gameplay, so I'll start from the combat. In 0, you play as KIRYU and Majima. KIRYU plays like an unstoppable force of nature with some finesse between his various styles, from rush for fast moves and stunning opponents, to beast with enhanced strength and using all these strewn objects around the world, including motorbikes like plastic bats, and Brawler, the in-between that delivers powerful counterattacks to even the various fields that you would encounter. Majima, on the other hand, plays like an unpredictable animal that delivers insane combos and strikes with his own styles of breaker, using breakdancing for rapid combos and quick moves, Slugger using a metal bat that's able to be used like a sword with finesse and devastating home runs like a traditional bat, and then Thug, giving him more counter ability with dodges and the ability to get behind enemies very rapidly. If that wasn't enough, there's the heat actions, letting KIRYU and Majima do some insanely satisfying attacks that make me seriously question that they've never endgamed anyone. Yeah, never have they ever. Yeah, never have they ever. There is also an unlockable style called Legend Style for the two characters when you complete their main minigames. I myself have not done it, but it is a nice bonus if you want to go for it. There's also weapons you can get, which, as you level up the various styles between the characters, they're not very useful, to be honest. But how do you level said styles? By investing money into KIRYU and DOJIMA, similar to how the currency system in Souls games function. Don't worry, you don't lose money if you get taken out, unless you come across a Mr. Shakedown, who wanders the world and is avoidable, who will take all your money when or if you're beaten by them. The opposite is true for Shakedown too, but since it's easy to avoid them, it's just a high-risk, high-reward obstacle that's completely optional. Then there's the mini-games. These vary from bowling, darts, batting cages, billiards, mahjong, koi, and that's just for some of the normal type of mini-games you could see. To then managing real estate, cabaret club, with storylines in themselves, to some of the weird shit, like a phone club that may as well be phone Tetris blaster sets. And finding cards for softcore porn videos. To make that even weirder is with the walking erection, where 3 times isn't enough for him, Mr. Libido! There's also a Tamarocho variant of Mr. Libido that dresses like Mr. Slave for some reason from, South Park. You don't have to do these if you don't want to. For me, instead, I went to do the disco minigame, which is very fun. But the button timing is extremely weird. I still have a hard time with it. And my all-time favorite minigame, Space Harrier. Well, actually, no. No. But there are a lot of Sega games that are built into Yakuza 0. There's also train games that are actually kind of fun. There's a lot of minigames, and I'm barely scratching the surface here. Oh, yeah, there's also an underground cat fighting ring where girls beat the shit out of each other, which, holy shit. All seriousness, actually my favorite minigame in the game is Pocket Circuit, where you customize these little cars with various parts and race them against the NPCs. These are the minigames that stuck out the most to me, at least. There's just so much with just the minigames that, with the minigames in themselves, they can be their very own game. With that, let's get into some of the story content and the immersion. Obviously, Yakuza 0 focuses on Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Majima. What makes 0 so special for me in particular is how the two cities of Kamurocho and Sotobori are characters in themselves with these various sub-stories that can be found just by walking down the streets or talking to some of the locals that involve helping a cop become more confident in how he does his job, teaching a band how to better present themselves to their fans, joining a cult to help a mother and daughter reconnect, or even getting into a pyramid scheme situation. And that's just a small sample of around 200 sub-stories split between Doro, Majima, and Kazuma Kiryu. These sub-stories have so much love and care put into them, just like the story, and the game encourages you to explore this world and to kick back for a bit because some of these sub-stories can get very wacky.
KIRYU はああ、そっちは
Yes, Queen!
Then there is the music throughout the game, which amps up things like breaking into a bathroom.
Why would I wash my hands, dude? I got clean dick. I never wash my hands. Why the fuck would I wash my hands?
Remember, wash your hands or KIRYU will give you a solid fisting. Heck, Kuze, who is a very old guy, becomes a punching bag of KIRYU's and has some of the best music in the game and some amazing boss battles. If that's not enough, the voice acting and various set pieces are also impressive. From the offices of the Yakuza, finding a boss in the sewers, fighting guys that dress like this out of nowhere, all giving so much life to this world. The voice acting is also fantastic. Seeing all these characters interact with each other is just a treat. Now, there's going to be a little bit of spoilers from here on, since a lot of this is story related, just to let you know. The voice acting extends from Majima being a very smooth manager. It's amazing.
お客様は神様ですから。
ほう、そらええ心がけやないか。お前さんのその心構え気に入ったわ。こいつはおごりや。たーんともいい。どうや、神様からのお恵みは。
ありがとうございます。私はこの酒を一度浴びるように飲んでみたかったのですが、おかげさまで夢が叶いました。
Nishiki's dilemma with KIRYU showing probably the best example of Zero's game themes.
よく味わって据えよ、兄弟。そいつがお前の最後の一服だ。何の真似だ。悪ふざけにしちゃたちが悪すぎねえか。なあ兄弟、いい加減にしろって。うるせえ。もうこうするしかねえんだよ。
なんでこうなっちまったんだろうな。どっから歯車がずれた。
組の命令ってことなのか、錦。
そんなんじゃねえ。桐生、お前組の制裁で殺される人間がどういう目に遭うか知ってるか。堂島組ってとこは見せしめの死体を作る天才だぜ。人間がどの程度痛めつければ死ぬのかよく知ってる。それをとことん死なねえように殺すんだ。生かしたまんまできるだけ長く苦しむようにだ。 生きたまま解剖されるような拷問されて散々痛めつけられた挙句、そして後になって見つかった死体はもう人間と呼べるようなもんじゃねえ。俺はな、桐生兄弟としておめえにそんな死に方させられねえよ。
To Makoto's performance, which makes me honestly cry nearly every time I replay this game. And my favorite part of the game is with KIRYU. One of the things that makes Yakuza games something very special that many games don't do very well is the build-up and the release. Here's the setup. The game starts off with you playing as KIRYU, being shown as a very tough guy, like nearly unstoppable by normal men. But then when he's trying to do the right thing by his own code of ethics and honor, Kuze will pop up every once in a while and gut punch him and reprimand him. Normally, when KIRYU gets attacked like this or anything, he gives back whatever he gets. But he doesn't with family members like Kuze out of respect and loyalty. KIRYU, he wants to protect someone precious to him, tries to get himself out of the family, but Kuze at first refuses, trying to get KIRYU instead to work with him one more time, even gut punching him again before trying to convince him. At this point, this is where I feel the most frustration and wanting to actually retaliate. KIRYU, face model and everything, seems to display this very feeling I have. I'm probably reading too much into it, but that is what I got. KIRYU keeps getting beat on, and he's still being respectful to Kuze and various family members. And just when they discuss KIRYU being taken away and taken care of, disposed, KIRYU even comments that he's still a member when Kuze says he just left the family.
組長に無断で
寝ぼけてんのか。もう親父なんて関係ねえよ。てめえは組み抜けたんだろうが。
確かにそうだ。その言葉待ってたぜ。
Release the limiter!
何？
てめえ
兄貴分に向かって何しやがる。
兄貴分だと。俺はもうこの組の人間じゃねえ。あんたさっきそう言ったはずだ。かかってくんのはあんたらの勝手だが、こっちも遠慮なく手出させてもらうよ。クゼの兄貴。俺がやらせてもらいます。
任せる。好きにしろよ。
待て。あんたにはまだ話がある。
俺にはねえ。どうせお前はここで死ぬんだ。もし生きて俺んとこまで来られたら話ぐらい聞ける。
なる。首洗って待ってろ。覚悟はいいな。いつでもいいぜ。来い！
Suddenly, a sense of freedom would come to me, and then the game has my full attention again. Every time. This is the best part of the game for me, because it's just so well done. Majima does get a similar build-up after this, but after Kiryu's unshackled moment of, just talking about it, I want to play it again. I'm already hooked on the game by this point. The build-up and release of Yakuza 0 is fantastic. One of the key parts of immersion in a Yakuza game, which does take a bit, of course, is the build-up and release. But the payoff is legendary. Each one has a very effective build-up and release with varying lengths. Yakuza 3 probably will have the most build-up in my opinion, but these games do such a good job with it. I know I went off on a small tangent, but this part of the game always hooks me. Now, unless I start fangirling over KIRYU, never mind. This guy is not only a favorite of mine to play and look at, he's probably my all-time favorite character in anything. Especially as the series progresses, there is a kind of joke about KIRYU being underestimated by various people, and he's very straightforward with what he does, and they always get their ass beat, and it's just hilarious because as KIRYU gets older and everything, he is a badass that you do not want to fuck with. Just give me a bit.
One pair of pants later.
I honestly cannot convey how much I like KIRYU. Majima is great too, despite talking to walls that seem to talk back. Before I go overboard and this video balloons even more, let's try to get into the story. I'll try to not spoil too much of it, but just in case, here's a spoiler warning. Though it's not like this game released 6 years ago, it's one of the best-selling Yakuza games of all time, gave the series a foothold in the West market, and brought a massive renaissance to the series, bringing the niche series to the forefront of massive popularity. Oh wait, it did. Still, spoiler warning for those that want to go in as blind as possible, this will probably be more of a synopsis and not very in-depth. The year is 1988. BEE, Japan's bubble-era economy, Kamurocho, Tokyo. Kazuma Kiryu is a fairly recent recruit of the DOJIMA family, a subsidiary of the Tojo clan, one of the most powerful organizations for Yakuza in Japan. Following a shakedown, he becomes involved in a conspiracy involving Shintaro Kazuma, Kiryu's foster father, and Kiryu being framed for a crime he didn't commit. Kiryu then joins Tachibana Real Estate, clear his name, and find the owner of the Empty Lot, a 3 square meter lot worth 1 billion yen at the time. For example, here's 3 square meters in New York City, and then the city Kamurocho is based on. Kiryu finds this conspiracy comes wholly from the DOJIMA family themselves, and with the aid of many, including his oath brother, Nishiyama, meet their machinations head-on and thwart their plans for the Empty Lot and their future plans for the Tojo clan. That's hot. Meanwhile, in Sotenbori, Osaka, Doro Majima, an ex-Yakuza, is trying to get back into the Tojo after disobeying his family head 3 years prior, with a missing eye to remember it by. After 2 years of living in his gilded cage, Sagawa, his handler of his punishment, gives him the big chance to rejoin the Tojo clan. Track and off Makoto Makimura, who seems to be a man, but is later revealed to be a blind woman that has the Yakuza after her. Majima goes against orders and gets involved in his own way in the battle over the Empty Lot, and giving his all to stop the Yakuza from going after Makimura, coming to blows with even the likes of Nishitani and even the DOJIMA family themselves. That's hot and scary. During all of this, the legend of 2 Tojo clan figures is born. The straightforward and honorable Kazuma Kiryu, a samurai of the modern age, the dragon of DOJIMA, the unpredictable, seemingly crazy but meticulous Doro Majima, a man of honor in his own way, the mad dog of Shimano. These two would stop the machinations of Yakuza and change the Tojo clan for many years to come. And throughout the story, the lengths of oaths and family ties is shown, from Majima and Kiryu's oaths to their brothers, to a hope for family to find their own way home with just a plot of land, honor for the people important to them, and go to the limits to protect these various connections they have. The Place of Oath is an accurate name and fits the central theme of Yakuza 0, and because of this story, I've become a massive fan of the series itself. After a very lengthy wrap-up of the main story and setup alluding to the future events of the cast, we come towards the end of this video. I tried a more general synopsis, whether it works or not, of the story because this game, in my opinion, is best to experience for yourselves. I hope I did the story the justice I feel it deserves, and more importantly, I piqued your respective interests. But I've gone over a lot of the good of the game, so I'll voice some of my gripes with it. Sometimes the AI can get annoying, especially when they have firearms. Despite being encouraged to explore the world, the story is so good that it actually makes me hyper-focus on it and ignore it, and despite being such a massive environment, there are invisible walls, which isn't inherently bad, and if you're a graphics first type of person, the game does look relatively dated for 2017 standards, hence it's technically cross-gen for PS3, PS4. There are also times where you put the controller down for almost 10 minutes at times. There is also no English audio. This isn't necessarily a personal gripe for me, but I thought I'd point it out. So be ready for a lot of reading subtitles, and finally, if you do decide to start here, know that Yakuza 0 sets an insanely high bar for the series. With that, that's most of my big gripes, whether they're really gripes or just little nitpicks that I'll leave to you. The game was also originally a PlayStation console exclusive, and has since been released on PC and Xbox, and also due to Zero's success I mentioned, the series got a bigger following than ever before, and got 2 remakes of the first 2 games as well, and even getting remasters of Yakuza's 3 through 5 with enhanced visuals and better translations. Even the previously Japan-only Like a Dragon Ishin being released in the West. Since then, Yakuza 8 has also been announced, and a spin-off title, Like a Dragon, Gaiden, is coming out soon when this video releases. The series is actually getting so much of a spotlight that the studio that developed it felt comfortable making and releasing the Judgment games. Say what you will about them, I really like them, and they're a side series focusing more on private investigation and working opposite of the Yakuza games. So where would I recommend to play Yakuza 0 or the series itself? Honestly, I'd say use Game Pass. All but Ishin and Dead Souls. Dead Souls is still on PS3, but you don't really need to worry about it. It's a completely separate entity to the entire series, so you don't need to worry about Dead Souls. All but those 2 are readily available to try, and since the games have been around for a while, they get discounts fairly often. But specifically for trying them, going with Game Pass is probably going to be the most cost effective. I myself, for this video, played through Steam after I've played this and the entire series on PlayStation, of course. So take it from me, this game is good. Borderline masterpiece, maybe. And if you're interested, you'll be in for a fantastic time and may want to binge the series. With that, hopefully I answered how good Yakuza 0 is. But what does Majima think based on his excitement here?
よう、KIRYUちゃん